Actually, you guys seem to like my story time, so here's a story time about why I will never fly American Airlines ever again. Now there's two airlines I literally can't fly on because they're the worst. There's Flair, and you heard my story about Flair. Then there's American. In all of my days flying, okay? At least with the Flair situation, they just had a bunch of asshole, like, people who just didn't want to do their job, right, properly. I get that. Because people are, you know, during pandemic, people aren't getting treated fairly. I get that, right? Probably underpaid, whatever, undervalued. And Flair is a piece of shit, okay? American Airlines, in this story, it's the corporate and the people who plan the shit that are terrible. It's not the staff. The staff were actually amazing. So here it is. I'm in Orange County this weekend to help out Annie from 10 to Life, set up her new studio and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, I'll come out and help you because that's what friends do. We help each other, right? So I booked my flight and it was supposed to be at 1 o'clock. Okay, which gets me to DFW, and then I got to fly to LAX, right? I want to get a little bit of a cheaper flight. It's because I don't want to spend $2,000 on a flight because I'm not rolling in that kind of cash. You know what I'm saying? I've never flown business class in my life. Someday I'll try. Someday I'll just do it if it's cheap enough. Anyway, so I get there, I get to the airport 3 hours early, right? Because, you know, I'm not messing around anymore. I'm not packing bags. I've got a tripod that I'm giving to Annie, and I got my bag full of delicious goodies, Canadian treats and clothes, right? I'm not checking bags. I'm not stupid anymore. So I get there, everything's great, except for the app really didn't work and I couldn't check in because you have to prove your COVID vaccination status still to go to the US, which I think is, really? Anyway, got that all figured out because I am vaccinated, so I can go anywhere. So I get to the airport. On the way to the airport, okay, delay. I get the text, oh, it's been delayed to 2:30. I'm like, oh, you know, it's going to be tight for the connection, which is going to give me 14 minutes, right, to get to the connection to the LA. So in the app, you can keep changing it if you want and all that stuff. The app actually is pretty intuitive. It lets you change the next flight, your transition flight and all that stuff. It's great. So I get there, man. So it's 2:30 rolls around. We get on the airplane. We should have been taken off by 2:30, okay? So the airplane gets there late. We get on. Everything's great. We're just sitting there for 2 hours. We're sitting on this plane. Captain was on. There's a little bit of an issue of some kind of valve, right? It's a maintenance issue, right? And if you know anything about flying, if it's a maintenance issue, that's on them to fix it. And if you can't get it fixed, they like owe you money and shit. Like there's compensation I'm due, and I'm gonna do it. There's compensation that I am due. Anyway, so he said it's gonna take 15 minutes. And then he comes on again, okay, they're going to be here in 15 minutes. That was 15 minutes later. So 30 minutes in, they're not even there yet. Look out the window, and they got maintenance guys just chilling out in the van. They got the wings open, and it's like, what is going on here? I'm not confident anymore that I want to fly in a broken-ass airplane. And don't forget, these planes are basically new. You guys know I used to be a ground handler and a CSA. And, you know, new planes, you could tell a plane that's new. These are new planes. So what's going on? Anyway, people start getting off because there's another flight leaving and you can change it in the app. So people start getting off the plane because we're sitting there for 2 hours. And then he comes on, he's like, no, it's going to be fixed, I promise. Here's the thing about what pissed me off about American Airlines, okay? They just kept stringing us along. Like, we just kept, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 18 times, shame on me, right? All day long they did this. So anyway, finally gets to a point where I'm like, I'm not sitting on this airplane anymore. I'm going to go find another flight. Forget this bullshit. I'm going to want a refund. I want off. Or go see if they have another one and get in line and see if they can book, because here are your rights as a passenger, okay? If the plane can't get you there and it's not based on an act of God like weather or something like that, it's on the airline to restructure it and get you on another plane to where you need to go. And if they cancel a flight, they got to put you in a hotel, they got to give you meal vouchers and everything else. Okay, it's on them. You need to know your rights as a passenger, because a lot of people didn't know any of this stuff. They just take it on the chin and walk around. Nobody got upset though. It speaks volumes to, like, people are like, I don't want to be viral on TikTok, okay? Nobody was pissed. There's a couple people grumbling here and there. And I kid you not, okay? In the middle of sitting on the ramp, we're all a little bit, like, miffed because this isn't working. People were going to use the bathroom, and the plane is long, right? And people were going up to the elite's bathroom up front, and the captain, no word of a lie, gets on the friggin' thing and says, sorry guys, if you're not in business class, you cannot use the business class bathroom, okay? People were like, excuse me? And I was like, yeah, don't let the poors use their bathroom. And everybody laughs, right? So you don't do that, right? Especially get a plane that's like full of people. If there's a bathroom up there, and I'm talking like, I get that the elites want their own bathroom. They don't want the poor shitting in their toilet. But that was something you didn't have to do, right? You just could have kept your mouth shut about that. But who is complaining about the poor is using their bathroom? That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking people who up front were like, I needed to use the bathroom, and the poors were in it. Anyway. That pissed me off a little bit, not gonna lie. So anyway, I get off the plane finally. I get to the front and they're like, yeah, you gotta wait until CSA. I'm like, no, I don't. I can get off this airplane right now if I want to. They made us all wait for no reason. Finally, they said, okay, everybody get off, go up, sit in the thing until we get this fixed. We promised it'll be fixed. So we get up and we're all waiting in line for hours. Okay, these CSAs are slower than the lady doing triage at the hospital. Okay, they are taking forever per passenger. I waited in line for 3 hours while every 15 to 20 minutes they change the time of the flight. I'm not kidding you. Every time, and all of a sudden, the plane's ready to go. We're like, yeah, everybody's party, let's go. Oh, they come on, but our in-flight timed out. If you don't know what that means, it means that they ran out of hours. They can't get on this flight because they'd be breaking FAA regulations, okay? People were pissed. At this point, it is 6 p.m., okay? On a flight that was supposed to leave at 1:11 p.m. So the plane's good. Okay, we're going to try to get another crew in. So they get a crew in. She gets there. Everybody's like, yeah, this was like an hour and a half later. But then they don't have enough crew. So like, okay, we're going to try to get another crew. So people are like, okay, we're going to give you guys all meal vouchers. You know what they gave us? $15 Canadian. Do you know what $15 Canadian buys you at an airport? Okay. Do you know what it buys you? It buys you a water, which is $6, and maybe a bag of chips if you're lucky. And you guys still got to pay a little bit. I went and got these little slider burgers because I was hungry and a poutine. Okay. It was this size. Not big at all. $27, and I didn't even buy a drink. I didn't even buy a drink. Okay, so thanks for the $15. I'm going to buy with this. So not only are they not up with inflation, but that's like an insult. And I lost my damn voucher. I kid you not. I was going to get something to eat later because I was waiting in line. I didn't want to get out to go buy something to eat. And as I was finally got over to get something, I lost my effing voucher. Someone picked that shit up and didn't give it back to me. They saw me drop it out of my pocket and didn't give it back. For shame. Okay? For shame. Anyway. I'm like, at this point, call my wife, figure out can you help me figure out a different flight? I don't care how much it costs, get me out of here. So there was all these options, nothing. There was nothing available to the next day at 5 p.m. So I'm like, I have no choice. I need to help Annie out. I'm here. I've already been waiting like 8 hours. It's time. Like I'm not going to give up now because you know, I'm the type of person like, as soon as I leave, that shit takes off. You know, that's going to happen. So anyway, it gets to the point where it's like, all right, we're going to try this for 11 o'clock p.m. We got another crew. We're so excited where this is going to happen. And the only reason the airline is doing this, and they're being told from the upper echelons of their leadership, again, the CSAs, the customer service representatives, are nice throughout this thing, okay? Nobody's berating them. Everybody's getting along, and it's not their fault. But they're being told from higher up that we'll figure this out because they don't want to pay for 300 hotel rooms. That's the only reason they did this, okay? They don't want to pay... They're responsible to pay. Even at this point, even if I do get on the flight at this point, I'm delayed 8 hours. They owe me something like $600 already. Every person in that flight is owed at least $600 at this point. Okay, that's how it works. So 11 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like, if I can get there by 1 or 2 a.m., my next flight is at 6 a.m. I'll still get to LA by 7. I'll still have the whole day to help Annie. Okay, that's the whole point. I'm here to help Annie. So I was like, fine, let's get this done. So I'm waiting. I'm watching movies. Finally, here's another thing that I am so mad at myself, okay? I get to the airport. I realize I don't have my AirPods. And if you don't know anything about AirPods, they're essential on an airplane because they're noise canceling. You can watch my movies. Forgot them. I'm pissed. Okay? I also brought the wrong charging block for my phone. So I couldn't even charge my phone. So I hop, oh my gosh, you go to the stores and a pair of headphones is $45. But I have an iPhone 13, doesn't have a headphone jack. So you got to buy the dongle for $30. You with me now? Okay, good. So anyway, there's this like Circuit City or whatever you guys call it, like vending machine. So I buy a pair of headphones. They're like $39 Canadian, $46 Canadian. I'm like, I'll just take these back to the store when I'm done, because I will. And then my phone's starting to die, and I don't have a way to charge it. So I buy a charging block for $45. Because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be here, if I'm going to be, 17 hours in transit, I at least want to watch the movies, have my phone charged, maybe whatever, right? So anyway, I get that. I'm super pissed about this because I've already spent so much money to not go anywhere. I'm over $150 at this airport by now. So I watched Megan, which is a pretty creepy movie. And then finally, it rolls around, 1 a.m. I'm like, shouldn't we be boarding right now? 1:30. Shouldn't we be boarding right now? Gets on the thing and he says, sorry, everybody, but the crew member that we brought in, they've timed out too. And I'm thinking, oh man, you should hear, because everybody was all around the whole area, like just spread out, kind of chilling. And you could hear people like, what the fuck? You hear people screaming. Like, you didn't know that this person coming in was going to time out. You couldn't contact them and say, what's your timeline? Right? And they did all this so they didn't have to pay for hotels. That's it. They didn't want to pay. And they're like, everybody come grab a snack. And they fed us a 6-inch sub from Subway and a juice, which is, whatever. Probably would have cost $100 at the airport for that. So the in-flight, the customer service representatives weren't the ones trying to screw us over. It was corporate. Okay, it was absolutely corporate trying to screw us. So, and they were just taking their, and apparently one of them had been there since 5 a.m. and she was still there busting her ass, working hard, just getting it done. And she was doing it with like class and grace. And she was amazing. But there were a couple people who would yell, you don't know what you're doing. And they would get pissed, start arguing. They're like, okay, so we can't do this flight. It's basically, now it's canceled. 1:45 a.m. they canceled this thing. Okay. That's almost 13 hours after it was supposed to take off. Needless to say, there was another plane that was leaving that some people were trying to get on. It also had a mechanical issue. And all these planes came in late because they all had mechanical issues. Don't fly American Airlines. Every single plane they have apparently has mechanical issues. Okay? How is it possible there's so many mechanical issues on these airplanes? Or are they using, I don't know what they're using it for, because they can't use act of God. They have to tell you it's mechanical, because when it's mechanical, they owe you money. So anyway, they make us go to the friggin' other side of security on the Canada side now. People are pissed. They're pissed. The next flight is until 5:45 p.m. the next day. My flight, I can't get out of there at all to get to LA, and I don't until when. I don't know when. It doesn't exist. So we get out there and I'm pissed. People were, and I walked, because I know my rule, I know my rights. I used to work for the airline. Okay, I walked up and down that line of people who were pissed, and I said, "Don't forget to ask about your compensation. Don't forget to." I told everybody in the line because I'm pissed, right? And the compensation is over $1,000 at this point, as far as I'm aware. Like you're due $1,000, right? And I don't think they're allowed to even just give you like $1,000 American Airlines. I think they have to give you some form of payment, $1,000 or more for what they owe you. So anyway, instead of waiting in line, I waited in line, but I called them. I said, just cancel my flight. I'm never going to fly this airline ever again. Not your fault, but whatever you guys did to us here was heartbreaking and very, very, very disgusting. And the person on the line was like, yeah, I get it. They were like, yeah, we get these calls all night. We get it. And they weren't even mad, and I wasn't mad. I was just like, I'm never flying this airline ever again. So then I got home at 3:50 a.m. and fell asleep. And that was it. Now Annie had to find some other help for her, and I'm glad she's getting it going, though, because her new studio is going to be sick. This whole thing was to help out Annie. It's to help out a friend. And so, Annie, I hope everything's going well for you there. That's my story of American Airlines and how they can kiss my white ass. Now there's 2 airlines I'll never fly again. Is there one that exists that's good? I mean, my family and I went to Florida on Air Canada, and it was good. Like, it was, I feel like it's a crapshoot at this point, right? You're just going to get a good one, or you're not going to get a good one. And so, I mean, I think you're just going to have to start flying like an elite passenger these days if you can afford it, in order to make sure you get to where you need to go. Like, I missed out on, 14 hours of work I could have been doing for someone else, helping somebody, or working for myself. I missed out on 14 hours. Like, my time is valuable. Everybody's time is valuable. My time is valuable to me, and I lost an entire day of things I could have been doing otherwise. I could have been doing other things rather than waiting at an airport because corporate was trying to mitigate paying for people's hotels. That's it. So, don't ever fly American Air or Flair. That's added to my shit list. That's my story for the day. Hope you enjoyed it.